Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. I am your host, and today I'm going to discuss Neville Goddard's Living in the End, and I'm going to give it a little bit of an explanation and a little bit of a twist. So, here we go. Living as if you are living, where's your end? The end is I, right? I, who you are, who I am being. That's the end, and I'll show you why, right? When you are imagining something, typically during an imaginational act, you are actively using your imagination to call forth a desired experience and embody that identity now as a calling to be that version, to already recognize I am that version, and to allow that version to simply unfold naturally in three-dimensional space and time. That's what you're doing as an imaginational act, right? You don't have to do anything. The seed is already planted and everything about it is there, right? So here's the thing. Pick any imaginational scene you've ever done. The end can't be the scene. Very simply because there's a day after and there's a day before. Whether you are imagining an outcome you desire or a revised act, there's always a day after, there's always a day before. So the end can only be identity. Your identity is the end of who you desire to be, because that's the point. You desire to be this version of reality, experiencing that place, that person, that's this idea, this experience of life. Because you can never experience anything except from I, right? And whatever you see, feel, or imagine is the reflection of who you are being. Imagination is reality. There's no other reality happening besides what you are imagining as the identity imagining it. So when you imagine, you're not pretending, you're actually being that identity no matter what you're doing. But if you're imagining as if imagination is not real, then you are just daydreaming. But if you are embodying and willing to believe that what I am imagining is real, then you are being that identity that exists right here and right now, right then and right there. By choosing to see and remember yourself differently, you shift into that self because you consciously decided to do that. So the end is identity. It's never the scene. The scene comes from the end, because every scene exists simultaneously with every other, just like every identity. So you're always choosing the identity and experiencing every scene that is associated with this identity, which includes what you have imagined, because that's what's resonating with you. The end is simply who you are, not emotion. To live in the end is to live from identity. Like, I am that version experiencing this. I am the one that's chosen. I am the one who's here. I am the one who's living in this life. I am the one who's experiencing these experiences. And it is being reflected and unfolding simultaneously in every single moment. I am that now. 3D doesn't matter, because thoughts, that's what I did. Thoughts. Thoughts is, well, we all want, right? Thoughts, which are basically thoughts, and I cannot believe I just said that. Anyway, feelings, circumstances, all just surface ripples. Wow, what a word. Once you have assumed identity, the unfolding is inevitable. Trust me, I am thinking, maybe I should restart this. That was a hell of a word to say. But let's keep going, because 3D doesn't matter. There we go, right? So your thoughts, feelings, and circumstances literally don't matter. They just surface ripples of your character experiencing any moment in given time, because it doesn't know or it isn't aware of what other moments that it exists in and as. Only you do, because you called it. I know it seems like it should. It's not going to. Like your three-dimensional self can no easier smell something that's cooking tomorrow than it can see a version of reality that you've embodied already, right? It can't. It's not built that way, right? Your TV can't play what's on tomorrow. Why would your physical self be able to experience it in a three-dimensional sense, or be aware of it in a three-dimensional sense? It's not able to, right? You can't hear a phone call you haven't gotten yet. And I can do this with a million different examples, but you get it. So affirmation is natural. This says complaining is natural for that identity who is complaining. Saying I am is natural for the version that you have now decided to be, the version that is in my dream life. Why? Because I am. Every story you tell about yourself affirms who you are, right? Rewriting your past is not lying. Especially if you think you're trying to change that specific event. No, just say, that event happened, that's great. Whoop-de-doo. It's selecting a memory that now matches the chosen self. I'm going to assume this memory also happened and it's more akin to what I am experiencing right now, who I choose to be right now. I'm not invalidating anything else. I'm just saying this is what resonates with me. I'm going to embody and imagine from being the identity that, every single thing that I desired worked out for me. Every person, every situation, every job, every healthy thing that I desired, no matter what it was, it worked out for me. I'm already aware of the version of myself who experienced it in that way. I'm choosing to be them now. Because all versions exist. You're not creating anything. Otherwise, how could it be there? How could it be there so fully fleshed out if you were creating it, right? Unless you're like a really incredibly talented artist, and even them, they couldn't draw the three-dimensional world with what's available with us currently in the three-dimensional world. But how can your imagination have so much detail? Even when the detail is blurry, you're knowing infinite amounts of information in one go. You are aware of this, right? So you don't create anything. Every possibility already exists. Manifestation is simply identity selection. I am the one who lives that. You are choosing who you are. I am the version of myself that failed. I am the version of myself that succeeded. I am the version of myself that knows failure and success both exist within me, and neither matter because my end is assured always. Prefer the third one. So, doing versus not doing. You cannot hold onto your old self by and be your new self. You cannot hold on to your old self and be your new self. How can that work? You can't hold an old suitcase and carry a new one with you. That's quite heavy, and you're gonna put one of them down sooner or later, right? You don't need to suppress the old. When you embody the dream identity, the old cravings, the old habits, the old contradictions, they dissolve on their own, like a river running dry, right? Once you dam it, it's gonna run dry eventually, right? Well, the water stops eventually, right? That's what I mean, right? That's what I mean. Because it no longer has any energy. And think about it, right? How many times have you actually experienced having stuff in your life where you just suddenly stop using it and then it just wound up on a shelf somewhere? Because you no longer carried on with the identity that was using that thing. You can look around your house, look around where you are. See how many things that actually exist in your world that no longer come into your awareness. You may be aware that they're there, but you don't use them, right? They're just there. You don't really worry about them because you know they don't change anything about you. You can have new stuff in your house and buy a new one tomorrow, and the stuff in your house doesn't change whether you are buying it or not, right? Because reality exists simultaneously. So you can buy stuff for a house that you live in and still know you are buying a new one tomorrow. It doesn't matter. We make those things matter. We make those moments matter. We make, hey, I'm buying a new house tomorrow, I better let this one slip. You don't have to do that, right? I'm buying a new car tomorrow, I better sell my old one. You don't have to do that either. It just naturally happens as part of the unfolding. You never have to force it, right? By the way, when I say dam a river, I mean like upstream. So when you're damming something and then the water stops, like it got blocked. It's not an actual man-made dam where there's water and what. Anyway, right? Yeah, just slight correction there. So curiosity is flow, right? Wondering what else is possible. It isn't doubt. It's your new self exploring what's already going on within you, what was already within you, what you were previously unaware of happening within you, letting yourself experience it fully, right? Every story you live already existed before you became aware of it. Changing the story is as simple as picking up a new suitcase, and once you carry it, the old one is no longer yours to carry. It might be yours in awareness, it's always going to be yours in awareness, but it's no longer what you're taking forward as an identity of experiencing. It doesn't go anywhere. Neither do you, but you're no longer having it front and center part of your identity, right? Even if the scenery looks the same for a while, even if you come back home and it's lying on the floor still, it doesn't mean that's who you are. It's just there, like a prop, right? Like a chair you don't sit in any longer. So awareness first and data second. Someone is telling me about science and evidence and data and what do I think about all this stuff. These are just effects, they're not cause, right? Awareness comes first, I comes first, right? I before E. Formulas, theories, breakthroughs, they are just awareness noticing itself in a new way. Desire itself is evidence that you are living that life already, the complete fullness of that life, right? You can say I generally want to eat fruit, especially when you're trying to be general, just to have manifestation naturally part of your life. But it is your life. You can't be like, I'll be manifesting for this much. No, you've been manifesting since the creator created your consciousness. You are a manifestation in its embodiment. You manifestation given consciousness, right? You are everything. So I generally want to eat fruit. You can say that, but when you eat the fruit, you are always specifically eating an apple. You're always specifically eating an orange, right? Every experience is always specific because I is always specifically being something. Even the idea of being general is specifically being that. So when you are going specific or you are going general, it doesn't matter. Who are you? I am the person that my desires always work out for me. So, source and selection, right? You are not becoming, you are source selecting. Choosing identity is not creating, it is remembering I am that. And remembering I am that is the experience of creating, is the experience of experiencing, is the experience of remembering it. Because you are here to experience being the creator in its entirety, from your point of view in any case, right? So practical truth, you don't force, you don't suppress, you don't do anything but choose, and then you live as that choice. Everything unfolds, ease or struggle, boredom or breakthrough. It's simple as choosing a story, identifying with the character in that story because it is you, and living as if that's what's unfolding, making the assumption that I am living as that character, that character is what's unfolding. So the end is always I. In every frame you live is already an end, and every end you see comes only through I. So choose the I that you are, and reality has no choice but to reflect it. That's it. Thank you all for being here. Mistakes and all. Much love, much light. Thank you for liking, subscribing, following, sharing, commenting wonderful things all the time. Thank you for that very much. There's a TikTok page available with other forms of content that are there. You can check that out. There's a Facebook group that is literally growing every single day, and I love you very much. So thank you for that. You can share insights, you can post questions, you can ask questions, etc., etc. There is an email address in the description box below where you can get a hold of me. That being said, much love, much light, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.